सभासदों, माननीय अध्यक्ष जी,
Honorable members, the matters under Rule 377 shall be laid on the table of the House. Members who have been permitted to raise matters under Rule 377 today and are desirous of laying them may personally hand over text of the matter at the table of the House within 20 minutes. Only those matters shall be treated as laid for which text of the matter has been received at the table within the stipulated time. The rest will be treated as lapse. Members, I have received a request from the Minister of Railways that he may be permitted to lay a statement regarding corrigendum to the following documents relating to the Rail Budget 2016-17. Demands for Grants Railways Part 1, Works, Machinery and Rolling Stock Program of Railways Part 2A and B. I have acceded to his request. Now, Honourable Minister, to lay the statement.
Madam, I beg to lay a statement regarding corrigendum addendum to the railway budget documents relating to railway budget 2016-17, demands for grant for railways part 1 and works, machinery and rolling stock program for railways part 2, A and B in Lok Sabha on the table of the House.
now the reply.
Yes. Now, ये साथ में लेने की होना है ना? Item number 12 to 14 to be taken up together. Now, the reply minister may start.
Madam, I wish to thank you for allowing me to make this presentation on the various demands, various ideas that were raised by as many as 104 MPs who spoke. Of course, there have been many more who have laid their statement on the table of the House. So let me take this opportunity to thank each one of them for being part of this discussion, part of the process. And I know most of them, overwhelming number of them, maybe 90-95% of them, have appreciated these efforts of making railways better. And this is one more step, the budget for year 2016-17, which will also hasten this process of making this national asset, a most precious national asset, a far better organization than what it is now. So I really thank each one of them for doing that. Madam, literally, the members burned the midnight oil, because yesterday the discussion went almost till the midnight. And therefore, all of them who have participated, I really wish to thank each one of them. Madam, the budget this time for year 16-17 was made in a very challenging times. It was probably the toughest year. There were tepid growth of economy. There was 7 pay commission economy in core sector. It was only in core sector, I mean the international slowdown. And therefore, the National Council for Applied Economic Research, who made a report on the freight, has said very interestingly that shortfall in loading is due to factors extraneous to railways. This was on account of less imported coal, cement, iron ore, depressed steel demand, decentralized procurement of food grains. Global slowdown has impacted the loading containers by almost 8.8 million tons. So this has been a really extraneous consideration, extraneous reasons which affected the budget. But despite that, I am very happy to say that we could make a lot of efforts, and I will come to it, the strategies we adopted, which was really speaking 3-pronged strategy. The one is obviously to capacity augmentation, because all the members want more capacity to be created. We also, for the first time, are trying to add new sources of revenue. One from the traditional sources, but also from non-rail operations, which has to happen because globally, the non-rail operations account for as much as 30-35% in some cases. So therefore, this was another strategy. And cost of operations optimization. This is probably an unprecedented effort in the railways. wherein not just increasing the revenue, but we also are targeting the reduction in the cost of operation. This is again for the first time probably on a magnitude that we are trying to do it, and therefore I really wish to thank all the members for appreciating this. Madam, this year our budget, the planned budget is 1,21,000 crores. And some members ask about how we are financing, I'll come to it. 21% higher than the expected plan for the previous year. Even 2015-16, the year which will close in the next few days, will surpass the target of commissioning 2,500 kilometers of broad gauge line, will surpass the target. 2016-17 will be commissioning 2,800 kilometers of broad gauge track. 90 new projects involving a total investment of rupees 1,26,172 crores, covering about 8,432 kilometers, has been included in this budget. Railway electrification, which is also the demand of several members of parliament, 1,600 kilometers to be commissioned in 2015-16, and next year it will be 2,000 kilometers. So we are really trying to work on this. So this is one, I said, first strategy of augmentation of capacity. The second is a new source of revenue. Madam, we already started doing a full market study because we have been seeing that railways have been depending traditionally on very few commodities. So very risky business. If you depend on only few commodities, there is, for whatever reason, there is a slowdown, then you will be not able to do the business properly. So we are trying to do a proper study. We are also starting roll-on, roll-off, pilot timetable freight trains, multi-point loading. We are also giving a big push for expanding containerization. And this is something in which part load opening goods sheds for containers is already being planned. Building terminal capacity to handle increased conventional and new traffic, modernization of goods shed, roadside warehousing is also already been started. So, madam, this will bring in more revenues to the railways from a traditional source. That is the freight, which is the 2/3 of the revenue. On passengers, we have already estimated to grow at 1%, the point that you made. But the increased 12.4% is because we are actually running new train services like Tejas and Humsafar, which will be covering costs completely. So here we will not be losing money. We will also add capacity for unreserved and reserved travel with more than 3 AC coaches. Same number of passengers we yield higher revenues. Working out such permutations while retaining the same number of passengers, we will be able to recover higher revenues from them. The non-fare revenues. This is something which will have to pay a lot of thrust. I am happy that some members mention about it. And this is a new strategy we are doing, is revamping the parcel business. Advertising will be increased at least 4 times. This is what our target, therefore we are working on it. Monetizing data and software is something which is the very first time we are trying to do it, not only in India, probably anywhere. Because the amount of data railway collects, 7 billion passengers travel by railway every year. This is the largest number anywhere. So why not we use the data available to us, try to monetize it so that we can start earning revenue. All of this in turn will ensure the long-term financial viability of the railways. This should be the concern of all of us because this is a national asset, which in turn will help us to bring more money for different projects that the members of parliament keep talking about. So this is a monetizing of land, scrap disposal, which will be more than at least 50% more. And this year again we have done a great effort in that. This year we will again increase it. So this is for the revenues, augmentation, revenues, and third is cost optimization of operations. Madam, this year 1,500 crores has been saved on account of this, and this is directly on quantitative terms. Electricity is annualized saving of 3,000 crores to be achieved end of this year, a year before commitment. We are also working on administrative expenses to be curtailed. This has happened this year, but austerity drives have been planned to really reduce it in a substantial manner. So this is something which was strategy, and this strategy has been implemented in a big way. I will come to it a little later. But this is something which happened, and I talked about the capital expenditure, the plan size. I am very happy to say that the plan size we have been able to increase to make railways sustainable. But if you don't invest into the railways, the present operation itself will suffer. At the same time, all the members of parliament, I really feel that I should accept all the demands of the members of parliament, but how can I do that unless I have more resources available? And the resources available can come through capital expenditure. capital expenditure will create new lines, will actually add capacity. So to do that, we have to increase the capex, and therefore we are working on that. And every rupee that we spend in the railways will have a 5 times better impact on the economy as a whole. So this has a 1 rupee invested in railways, 5 rupees will be the benefit that will accrue to the economy. So therefore we have decided to increase the capital expenditure, the plan side. Normally, and as there are some very illustrious members sitting here, they know that the finance ministry was the sole source of giving revenue outside of the railways' own resources. Railways has suffered because of finance ministry again has a similar problem like the railways have, and therefore the competitive demands on the Ministry of Finance from social sectors, from infrastructure sectors were not able to get the type of money we want. So the fiscal deficit, if finance ministry gives more money, that adds to fiscal deficit. In reality, the fiscal deficit is something, if it goes beyond a particular level, affects all segments of economy. If the fiscal deficit increases, the rate of interest will go up, will affect railways' own borrowing program, but also affect the corporate borrowing, the government borrowing, state government borrowing. It will impact everybody. So we decided that not only relying on the capital expenditure coming from the railway main budget, we'll also do on our own. And what was the result, madam? I am very happy to say that in the last few years, our capital expenditure has increased considerably. And I'll come to it later to tell you how we have been able to increase it in case of from previous 10 years to now. But just to give an outlay, because many of the members have asked for it, this year, and I'm giving only few figures, Assam and Northeast, in 2013-14, we were able to put in 2,330 crores. This year, it is 15-16 was 5,368 crores, more than double, and now this year again 5,340 crores. In case of Bihar, the 13-14 allocation was 1,244.8 crores. We have increased it last year to 2,849 crores, 2,489 crores, and this year it is increased again to 3,171 crores. Jammu and Kashmir, it was only 1,044.7 crores in 2013-14. This year we have taken it to 2,061 crores. And I can go on and on, but just talking about Karnataka, it is 13-14, the amount of allocation was 909.4 crores. We have increased it to 2,779 crores this year, and the last year allocation was 2,496 crores. In Kerala, it was 260.4 crores in 2013-14, has gone up to 1,098 crores 2015-16 and 1,041 crores in 16-17. The same I can talk about in Odisha, one of the states I want to mention, because Odisha is a state which has been far neglected despite the fact it has a huge natural resources which can fuel the growth in the economy as a whole. In Odisha, in 13-14 it was 812 crores. Last year we made it 2,712 crores. And this year it is now 4,682 crores. So this is something which I am saying, this is not to make any political capital, but wherever it was needed, we are trying to increase it. In case of West Bengal, it was 13-14 1,604 crores. This year it is 3,820 crores. So this is what we are trying to increase the allocation. And just to give some figure, in Assam and Northeast, if you compare the previous 10 years, it has gone up by 151%. Bihar 97%. In case of many states, but I am just deliberately not mentioning the NDA states. But in most of the other states, in Odisha, it has gone up by 292%. So I think this is something in Tamil Nadu. It has gone up by 77%, and in fact, we want to take it more. I requested the Honorable Chief Minister to sign an agreement with us so that we can take it forward. I know right now you cannot do anything because of the election, but post-election, we'll definitely work on it. So I am really trying to say that this was possible only because of increasing the capital expenditure, which resulted in the first, in last 10 years, the average electrification was 807 kilometers. In this year, it is now become 1,500 kilometers a year. So it has increased almost 100%. During 2008 to 14, 658 ROBs, RUBs, subways were constructed, as against an average of 1,037 during the year 2014 and 16. So we have increased on all fronts, and I'll just give an example. In UPA 1, the average speed of average per year was 1,477 kilometers, which of course, thanks to Mr. Khargeji and others, it went to 1,520 kilometers. But now I'm happy to say the average of last 2 years, is 2,292 kilometers. So we have increased the speed of implementation and we are trying to take it to the new level. Talking about implementation, I am very happy to say that budget for the year 2015-16 was said to be a good budget by many, but a question was asked that whether it is a dream budget, but that how will it be implemented. Madam, I am happy to say that is the first time in railways we have attached an action taken report on all the points that were mentioned in my previous budget speech. And I am very happy to say that 139 of those points have been attached, and I request all the members to go through it. In 2016-17, the speed of gauge conversion was 7 kilometers per day. Now, as against average of 4.3 kilometers a day in last 6 years. This pace will increase to about 13 kilometers per day in 17-18 and 19 kilometers per day in 18-19, and therefore this is something which we are trying to do. Madam, I will give another example, and therefore this is all done through a combined wisdom of all of you. We delegated powers to general managers, which has also resulted into faster decision making. One general manager has written a letter to our finance commissioner saying that tenders about 75 crores are now getting finalized in 83 days as opposed to 500 days earlier due to delegation of power. So this has resulted into faster action, and therefore we are trying to monitor it very rigorously. There is a e-Samiksha, weekly monitoring IT-based mechanism has been developed by my colleague Mr. Manoj Sinha and myself, and also Chairman Railway Board. We monitor it every week to make it happen. We are also started 7 missions for key areas like 25 Excel load, zero accident, procurement and consumption efficiency, accounting reforms, network utilization, increasing speed, and commissioning of 100 new sidings. And we are also signed MOUs with the various governments, state governments, so that we can actually, to the various zones, so we can take it forward. Madam, some people ask me about debt, whether the utility of debt, how it is affected. I would like to just give you a flavor, and I fully understand that everybody has the right to ask such questions. But I'll just give you some flavor of it. German railways have got a debt of 16 billion euros. Chinese railways, which is talked about as a great organization which has been able to deliver such faster delivery, their debt in 2013 was 428 billion US dollars. China Railway Corporation, which is another one, which has a 2.84 trillion yuan assets with a debt of 4.68 trillion yuan. So the debt is more than the asset, and therefore the corporate debt to asset ratio is 62%, and Japan has a debt of $32 billion. As against this, I am very happy to say that our debt is really hardly anything, and this is not any substantial, so I really want to assure that this is not going to result into any challenges. We are already talking about private participation, and some member raised the issue about private participation. I want to tell you that private participation in the railways was started in 2002 when the Adlipur Mundra Port Rail project was sanctioned. Subsequently, and I am happy to say, all the succeeding ministers from all different parties supported the idea. In fact, in all their budget speeches, they have been mentioning about PPP. So this is not something which we can say to be invented, but this is something which we really need to do, take it forward to make sure that this will result into a different advantage to different kinds of people. And in fact, one of my colleagues raised the issue that why should we have PPP? I want to tell you only 2 states. In Kerala, the state government has made 11 PPP projects costing 10,056.44 crores. In West Bengal, there are 13 projects. This is from the official website of the government of India. 13 projects for 14,072 crores have been also done. So this is something even state government want to do it, and rightly so, because without PPP, without getting additional funding, how are you going to fulfill the aspirations of the large number of people who want better services, better facilities, not only in railway. This is not a railway. What I told about PPP is not a railway of the state. This is the PPP projects of the state government for various purposes, and rightly so. So I support their idea. This year, as I said, our capex is 1,21,000 crores. You wanted to know how we are going to get it. 34,000 crores, 34,220 crores is coming from Ministry of Finance as a gross budgetary support. Internal generation will bring in 7,000 crores. 7,160 crore is the depreciation. Development fund is 2,515 crores. Safety fund 10,780 crores. And the extra budget resources are 59,325 crores. So this is something which is going to be the source of funding. So this is a completely financially tabulated figure. It is not something that we are talking about, and therefore I am very happy to say that railways are gearing up to meet the growing demand of different sectors, different segments, different states, and therefore to make that we are actually trying to create new resources, and we are going to make it happen. Madam, the operating ratio is something which people ask me. I am very happy to say, and I explained in the beginning, that there was a shortfall in the revenue, completely extraneous to the railways. But we came up with a new plan. We saved as much as 8,720 crores, 8,720 crores of expenditure, so that we could achieve operating ratio of 90. I don't want to give any promise, but we are still working to improve this operating ratio in this year itself. We have already got some more revenues. We are working on February-March plan, and therefore, after I presented the budget, also we are working. So maybe, I'm not promising, but maybe we'll be able to improve this ratio further. Also, the next year target, 92%, must tell you that after every pay commission, the operating ratio has shot up by several points. This time it has gone up marginally because, again, the strategy which I mentioned earlier, we are restricting the growth of working expenses to only 11.6%, which includes the pay commission liability. We are also trying to reduce the planned diesel and electricity consumption, not the amount. The amount will be saved anyway. We are trying to reduce the expense by way of energy conservation. Revenue generation, which is also targeted, as I mentioned earlier, by bringing in all parts of things. So this is something which will be bringing in the new benefit to the railways. Madam, some members raised an issue about depreciation, and that is rightly so. We have a right to know that. I am very happy to say that depreciation is required for renewal of track, replacement of overage wagons and other railway assets. Accumulated areas of track renewal has come down from 7,588 kilometers to 5,300 kilometers. So we have been actually taking a massive drive to increase the cost. Overage wagons have come down from 14,649 to 6,177. It has been achieved because of improvement in asset quality due to modernization, increase in life cycle requiring lesser maintenance, standardization of stack structure through 60 kg rails and PSC strippers. And also happy to say that when we have more and more bio-toilets in the coaches, this will reduce the corrosion of tracks, thereby lowering maintenance that is required. So this also will help us indirectly, because this is one of the main causes of tracks getting corroded. Expenditure on DRF has remained around 7,000 crore to 7,300 crores from year 2012-13. So some of the members who have been just saying that this year we have brought down and therefore this is a problem, 12-13, it has been in the region of 7,000 to 7,300 crores. In fact, 2012-13, it was 7,045 crores, and therefore, despite this, we have been able to maintain it. So I would like to assure the House that DRF again is something which we should not be really worried about. Madam, let me briefly tell you about some of the issues that were raised by members. Many members wanted to know that this budget for the common man. Madam, I am happy to say that this budget has everything for common man. In fact, common man is the center of this budget. So therefore, we have started Antyodaya Express. We have started 2 to 4 new coaches, Deen Dayalu coaches. We are also going to sell tickets through handheld terminals, sale of platform tickets through ticket vending machine, e-ticketing facilities for debit and credit card, facility for cancellation of 139 helpline, bar-coded tickets, progressive CCTV coverage at Tatkal counters, Vikalp, which will allow passenger to have a choice, IRCTC to manage catering service, that way it will improve the food quality. We are extending e-catering to 408 stations, that means all A1 and S class stations. Explore making mandatory catering services optional in trains, and I can go on and on, but there are many things which are actually meant only for the benefit of the common man. And also for the Vikas section. That is something which is a fundamental reason why our Prime Minister keeps saying that the very existence of the government is to benefit the Vikas section, the common people. So there are many more things which are actually targeted for the common, for the Vikas section also. And I am very happy that some of my sisters have mentioned about how the women are going to benefit from it. So I don't want to say again, but this is something for the women, for the scheduled caste, for the scheduled tribe, for the self-help groups and many others. Madam, somebody raised an issue about recruitment for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. In 2008, 8,146 ST backlog vacancies of identified were filling there. It is now, we have brought down the backlog, and now 99.55% vacancies have been filled up. So I am very happy to say that we have been able to do that. Also, we have been able to now, another issue that people have raised is about recruitment. I am very happy to say that we are talking about even stalls where the SC and ST will be properly taken care of. Some members have raised issue about examination, and we have already started an online examination, which will stop hoodwinking the people getting cheated, because people are claiming that I can get you a job and they get cheated. So we have started online examination. We are making sure that now in future, all the recruitment, including recruitment boards, some of the members have raised the issue, we really look at afresh about the recruitment board. Madam, the speed of the train, not speed of my speech, is something people have been talking about, and therefore I said that a separate mission being carried out to improve speed of train. New rolling stock which can run at 200 kilometers an hour is being produced and would be available soon. Operations audit being conducted in Ghaziabad Mughal Sarai section, which is the cause of delays. Most of the members of parliament coming from UP, from Bihar, from West Bengal, they suffer because of lack of proper leeway available, and therefore we are conducting that Ghaziabad Mughal Sarai, which is the root cause of the problem. We are doing that, and now we are starting Tejas. We will showcase the future of train travel in India, operating at speeds of 130 kilometers and above. So we are actually trying to work on that. Madam, obviously, the members have expressed their concern about safety. Though the accidents have come down, I am not happy with that. We have decided most of the accidents, as Kharge Sahab would know, having been a minister and a very distinguished minister, that RUBs and ROBs are necessary to avoid the level crossing, because level crossing is the root cause of the accident. We have decided a massive program. A central fund for this purpose is being created. We are also increasing this year's allocation from Central Road Fund has increased to 3,000 crores. Created a separate mission for safety under which elimination of all unmanned level crossing and train collision avoidance system will be taken up on a mission mode. We already started working on that. Anti-fouling measures to be undertaken for a city like Mumbai. That's a major problem. We are also working on web-enabled monitoring instrument in 100 minimum to important bridges to monitor the water level. This also was one of the root causes of the accident. As you know, in last year in Madhya Pradesh, this accident took place. Madam, as you know, the station is a place where people are really looking forward to a development. I had announced already that we are working on a PPP model to develop these stations, and in some cases, we are also involving the PSUs. And these PSUs then will be able to take it on a faster bid. The financial bid for Habibganj station, which again is not something which I take credit, was going on for some time, which has been received, and we'll take it forward. 5 more stations, Anand Vihar, Bijwasan, Chandigarh and Shivaji Nagar, Gandhi Nagar, will be out for bidding very soon. Cabinet has approved 400 station development. Stakeholder consultations for model concession agreement is underway. Aesthetic improvement has already happened in many states, including Rajasthan, wherein local art has been depicted in most of the stations. Madam, some members raised this question about bullet train. And Kharge Sahab very rightly said that this bullet train has been devised to go between Mumbai and Ahmedabad, because Prime Minister can come to Ahmedabad and I can go to meet him. So I really must compliment the previous government for being so visionary. They could know when they actually started talking to Japan about this project, when the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh was there, they knew that very soon Mr. Modi is going to be the Prime Minister and Suresh Prabhu is going to be the Railway Minister. So I really must thank my friends in the opposition for being so forthright in terms of thinking that they could really realize that Ahmedabad and Mumbai should be taken up. They have decided this, not us. And therefore, Ahmedabad to Mumbai is something which is already we have started a company and will take it forward. But I want to tell you something. People have raised a very valid point. This is a very valid point. And in fact, Mr. Tariq Anwar also raised the issue. Why should we spend so much on one project? That's the question. Why cannot we spend the same amount of money on the rest of the activities? That's the question. It's a valid question. I will make an effort to tell you this. First of all, this is a standalone project. this project is more or less self-financing mode. The Japanese government has decided to give us almost entire amount, almost some part, at rate which is 0.1% interest rate, to be repayable in 50 years. And first 15 years, we don't have to service it. So if you ask a banker, he'll tell you this is not only free, but it is more than that. And 85% of this will be manufactured in India. So what are the benefits? The entire technology of knowing about it, the spin-off benefit of this will be felt in all across the railway network. In fact, I will tell you something. There was an understanding signed between the previous government, which said that we should explore the feasibility. That's what it is. I personally requested the Prime Minister of Japan, also our own Prime Minister prevailed on it, and he said that please not confine this only to one project partnership. Let us please come in and help us to develop rest of the railway network. Try to increase the safety standards of Indian Railways, because Japanese standards are the highest and the best in the world. Japan almost has a 0 accident rate, which cannot be surpassed by any other country. So we requested them, please type with us. We have already signed an agreement so that our IDSO and Japanese research organization are going to work with us. So this again is a benefit to the entire system. So this is not something which is confined to this. So I would request that, and if that money is available only for that project, it's not that that money was available for any other project. And therefore, this is something which we must try to keep in mind. And I am very happy to say that this high-speed benefit will actually help in all other systems. I will give an example. When Atalji started a program for roads, and then subsequently the government also followed it up. The benefit of that is not the road sectors alone. We could get the best technology for road making in India. The type of instrument that came in have benefited the other sectors as well. So when we get this technology, we'll be actually getting benefit of this technology all across the country. So please don't think that this is only one single project. We are talking about complete revamping of railway network, in which this we have taken it forward and taken it to the new level. So please be assured that we are not only focusing on one project. This is something which is part of the project, but our idea, the public money, we are using exclusively for development of the network where people travel, but this again will benefit. So please try to understand. Madam, the states are very important partners, and therefore we are not able to, states are very important partners, and therefore
only ministers speak.
We are not able to develop the network without getting the states on board. So we decided to form the joint venture company with the states, and I am very happy to say that several state governments have come forward, and we are trying to now make the new state JVs, and therefore this again will bring in a new paradigm shift in terms of getting cooperative federalism, but also helping the states to grow faster. They will decide the priorities, we will work with them, and therefore the new network development will start. This will open a new avenue for development, and therefore this is a new idea that we are trying to come forward. There was an idea of SPV. This is a joint venture, and one of the states has agreed, also is Karnataka. Most of the 16 states have agreed, and I am very happy that I really thank them. Kerala has agreed. So Kerala is a state wherein a lot of development, so I just gave the numbers. So Kerala has been at the receiving end for a long time. So we decided that we'll make a joint venture company with them and also take it forward. Northeast and Jammu and Kashmir is something which has been a focal point of our activity. Northeast, we already this year, we started the Lunding Silchar gauge conversion, and this has really resulted into, and I think she's not here, but she was there, you are also here. When we started the trains from that part of the country, first train from Barak Valley to Delhi was also launched very recently. We have done many things, so I don't want to repeat because this is part of my budget speech. In Jammu and Kashmir, also we have increased the amount, and therefore we are able to take it forward. Madam, I want to say that there are many other important information in the budget, which is to talk about reforming the system itself. So one is a project, other is the reforming the system itself. So we are talking about making sure that we need a regulatory framework wherein by most distinguished member of the parliament, former Prime Minister, made a very statesmanly speech yesterday. And he really brought out the crux of the problem. One of the things he said is, why not we have the fare should be really increased so that it will cover the cost. sometimes, and he correctly pointed out, whenever you raise it, there are more questions raised than the fare raised. So therefore, we are trying to create a new mechanism whereby there will be a proper system that will be put in place. And therefore, we are also trying to structure the railway board on the business line. Forming cross-sectoral directorates is something which we are also working on. We are also working on planning and investment organization. We are trying to set up a holding company for the railway PSUs, creating a separate organization called Special Railway Establishment for Strategic Technology and Holistic Advancement, SRESTA, for research and development, creating an organization special unit for transportation research and analysis, Sutra, for data analysis, making sure that 25 XL load, which will increase in speed, and others will also happen. So all of this, in turn, will bring in the structural reforms, structural changes into the railways. We are also happy to say that we are launching a new central IT ERP-based program so that all operations will be really IT integrated. I know Mr. Madhurav Scindia, when he was a railway minister, he had started a computerization. We really need a huge push to make enterprise resource planning to be rolled out, and this should be a huge project spanning multiple years and would unleash significant benefit through cost optimization, improved asset utilization, as well as bringing in the type of efficiency we want. We also are focusing on transparency in a big way. Already I said that we started the recruitment online in 15-16. Now we want to replicate this process for all positions. Social media being used. We are also doing all procurement, including procurement for works, is now an e-platform and completed trial process already. We'll have a new transfer policy for officers issued already, and sale of scrap, which is 100% computerized through e-auction. So there is no scope for any wrongdoing. Madam, many members have raised an issue about religious tourism, because there are so many religious spots which I mentioned. I am happy to say that we can also include more whenever it comes to, but we'll definitely take it forward. Madam, as you know, the railways are going through a real crisis accumulated over years of time. So there is no point doing a blame game on this. We must try to work together, must make sure that the railways remain out of the political upmanship with each other. If we do that, the railways will keep suffering as it has suffered in the past. So my appeal to all the members of this House, as you have displayed during the debate, that you supported this budget in a very magnanimous manner, I urge you that the journey has just begun. We have a long way to go. Am I saying that we have changed the railways completely? No, I am not even saying that. But I am definitely saying that railway has improved in last 1.5 years, 2 years, little more than what it was. But does it mean that we have stopped here? No, we have a long way to go. There are many more things to be brought in, many more things to be changed, and to do that, we'll need multiple stakeholder participation. We need each one of you support and help, and therefore I request all the members of Parliament, irrespective of the party affiliation, to please support this. We'll work together, and I will take it forward. I know individual members have raised a number of problems, and I appreciate it. I am also a member of Parliament. In fact, 4 times I was a member of this House, and therefore I know exactly the problem that members of Parliament face. We are trying to attempt to solve some of those problems in this budget, but not all. I am aware of it. But we'll definitely make an effort to address several of the challenges as we go along, and we look forward to working with you. I seek the cooperation, support, help, participation of each of the members of the Parliament to make this happen. Thank you very much, Madam. Thank you.